Hello, and welcome to today's discussion on work-life homeostasis. I'm Ashley Collins, founder and CEO of Humane Startup, a startup and business consulting and training company. We recently opened up a dialogue at the Startup Show 2023 at King's College in London about the concept of work-life homeostasis. And really, it gets its origins from an ongoing challenge that myself and my clients have had with the term work-life balance. Work-life balance for us really conjures this image of a scale with two sides that you need to keep level. And quite frankly, that is just not how I've experienced life, nor is it how my clients have experienced life. And without a doubt, I tend to get a lot of inspiration from my work, for my work rather, from how nature works, how our own human biology works, because I do tend to find that there are more relevant systems there, systems that factor in for the massive amount of nuance that goes into your work and into your life. And these are systems that can be extracted and applied to your business and to your life as well. And that was really the genesis for work-life homeostasis. So the topics that we are going to cover in today's conversation are defining what work-life homeostasis is, the impact that it has on your business, the mechanisms that you have available to achieve it, how to practice regulation. We'll introduce you to the 7 Summits Project, and then also the alignment challenge that you can get started on today if you want to start putting any of these things into practice. So a first step, what is work-life homeostasis? Homeostasis, human homeostasis, is really the act of maintaining a stable internal environment within your body, despite changes in the external environment. What work-life homeostasis is just applying this principle to your personal and professional lives, right? The truth is that the human body intercepts far more data and far more sensory input and far more information that we could ever have to manage in our business or in our life. So if we work with the theories and principles behind how we keep ourselves alive, how we maintain our body temperature, how we maintain all of our internal systems and prioritize and deprioritize attention, then we can start to maybe have a more accurate and meaningful way to manage our lives. And one of the first places that a lack of regulation, a lack of delivery on homeostasis can show up is in the health of our relationships. And this is important because the truth is that 65% of startups actually fail due to relationship conflict. And a lot of the other causes of failure are really symptoms of issues here. And these can be issues or relationship conflict with co-founders and partners. This can be relationship conflict across teams, with investors, suppliers, with our family that's showing up and how we show up for our business, our romantic relationships, and even our relationship with self, particularly our relationship with self. And this, you can see this in our decision making and how we build strategy and our likelihood to succumb to short-term pressure, to prioritize profits and potentially move away from our missions and our values. And there's a book that I highly recommend that you get your hands on. It's by Noam Wasserman, who is a professor at Harvard Business School. And this was where I was first introduced to the research that backs up this statistic here, and it's called the Founder's Dilemma. Really a tremendous place to start if you are starting your first entrepreneurial journey, and a good piece to revisit, even if this is your second and third time. And what can regulating and aiming for work-life homeostasis do for you? It can enhance your focus and productivity. It can enrich your relational intelligence. It can allow for better decision making, and these things ultimately lead to business success. So what mechanisms do we have in our toolkit in order to regulate, in order to endeavor for work-life homeostasis? And essentially the tools in our toolkit are receptors, control centers, and effectors. And let's take a look at how these things work together in an ecosystem, shall we? And so, as I said, I've always taken issue with this image of a scale with two sides because it's just not reflective of my lived experience and certainly the feedback from my clients. Instead, it looks a little bit more about like the image that you just saw moving when the automation was rolling on this screen. So you've got a bunch of different factors. I work with 12 life areas in my framework. That need to be prioritized and deprioritized. And there's new information coming in about these life areas all the time. So using and leaning on the neurobiological terms here, you've got stimuli coming into your life from in each one of these areas all the time. And the receptors are the people or the systems in your life that detect that change. They send things through a pathway into a control center. The control center perceives, right? So this is where you're going to apply context. This is where you're going to apply your filters and sort of set that stimulus against a backdrop. Send it to the effector, and then the effector will respond and influence. And in your body, this is happening on a continuous cycle without you even thinking about it. And we'll talk a little bit about how we can deploy automations in our life and in our business. But you are doing this today without even thinking about it. But there are some key things to bring forward into the conversation as we continue. And that is that there is no one size fits all approach. You are unique. Your business is unique. The filters that you apply are unique. And it is very, very difficult to regulate alone. And it's unnecessary to regulate alone. And how you regulate will depend on the stimulus. So let's take a quick deeper look at the mechanisms that we have to leverage as tools in our toolkit, starting with receptors. So this is where we receive and we transmit information, stimuli about the different areas of our life and of our business. And as I mentioned, these can be people or systems responsible for monitoring and receiving information on the external environment and any changes that are happening in it. And this is one of the first places that we start to see a breakdown in non-business related support. So folks put a lot of effort into systems and into automations when it comes into their business, and they think through the different pathways that are in place to get information where it needs to go within their business. But we don't oftentimes think about this in our personal life. So my invitation to you at this point is to maybe even run an exercise if you have a notebook to hand. What pathways are in place for you to get information to the appropriate control center in your business and in your life? So what are the different areas of your life that you have information coming in for? And then what pathways are in place? Like, where does that information go? When there are changes going on to your internal environment, how do you catch that? And where do you send that information? The truth is we're sending it to a control center of some type. So control centers process and repackage information. Whether or not today your information is going to the right control center is potentially a question that we can ask ourselves in just a bit. But control centers can be people and or systems responsible for processing and repackaging information to send it along to the effectors. We also tend to forget to set up and or under support non-business related or achievement-oriented control centers in our lives. So we might be sending a lot of irrelevant information to a particular control center because the only ecosystem that we have truly thought through is for our business or for our financial achievement. So my invitation to you at this point is to think through what context are you processing everything that's happening in your life through? How are you repackaging that information? And is it actually going to the right control center in order to be processed and repackaged? Or are we sending everything into a business ecosystem? Are we looking at everything through the lens of our achievement in our career? Or do we have sufficient control centers set up for the other areas of our life? And once we've applied our filters, we've set our stimuli against our backdrop, then it goes to the effectors. And these are our change agents. These are the folks who are responsible, or the systems that are responsible for responding to output from the control centers. And again, this is happening every day inside this beautiful central nervous system of yours. But the control centers either oppose or support the stimuli that triggered the receptors in your biological systems in human homeostasis. And we can actually set this process up to flow in this exact way in our lives. So we can set these things against things like values, against things like SMART goals. And effectors are the folks that are closest to the action. So that's why they get to either support or oppose whatever stimuli or changes in our external environment are coming at us. So the invitation here is to potentially pause the video, write down in your notebook, are the effectors in your work-life ecosystem aligned on the lens through which they should be applying the final filter? And are they adjusting that lens based on the context of the life area that they're meant to be supporting or opposing changes for? So just kind of think through that for yourself for a little bit. You don't have to have all the final answers right now. It's really just training and practicing thinking through things in a slightly different way, with an end goal of regulating. Right? So I think regulation is a much more apt term for what we have to do in our daily lives versus balancing. I think we've already established that we've got way more than two areas of our life that we need to address for, and that there are going to be times when certain areas of our life need to take priority over the other. And it's really about shifting these things fluidly in order to stay in alignment with our life vision, with our values, with our goals, and minimize internal conflict. So the art of practicing regulation is going to look unique for everyone, and it is going to change as you navigate the various stages of your life. So this comes back to there being really no one size fits all approach. And a key first step here is training on your equipment. I don't know about you, but I was not handed an owner's manual with my central nervous system or with my body when it was given to me at birth. So I've been working hard along with my clients to get to know myself biologically. And a key to this, this is a particular passion point for me as a neurodivergent leader, is understanding your central nervous system. It's sort of like the software for your body, and what version of a central nervous system you are running on. You could fall into what we call the neurotypical category, but I think there are more and more folks who are waking up to the fact that there is no such thing as really being neurotypical. In my opinion, you've got like 85 million neurons, and they are very impacted by what's going on emotionally. How you process things is very impacted by your stress levels and your lifestyle, etc. So just run an audit on your CNS setup and get to know that. I personally am autistic ADHD, so that impacts my approach and the tools that I leverage in order to achieve the things that I wish to achieve. Also understand your body and how it is changing over time, and its strengths and its weaknesses, and how you can better serve and support it. The research is absolutely abundant when it comes to the mind-body connection, the importance of physical health on your mental well-being, the importance of mental health on your physical well-being, and also ultimately the outcome of anything that you apply the combination of these tools to. And then once you feel like you've got a good understanding of where you are at right now, and again, this is something that is ever changing with all of these external environments, and we're having to adapt and adjust. So, this is something we're going to have to look at over time. Embrace the power of your combination. It is unique to you, and it can be optimized for a given purpose. So embrace the power of that, understand it, and put it to use in service of you and your mission. Some handy tips here. Define your values. This is one of the first exercises that I go through with any of my clients, even if they tell me that they already have values. Because usually, if you start to scratch below the surface just a little bit, you'll find that some values have crept onto this list that folks feel like should be on that list because society says they should be, but maybe aren't actually what truly matters to that individual. And I like to get us to narrow down to three values. And I'll tell you, this sounds so much easier than it is in practice. Okay, so the process of admitting to yourself what is truly important to you and taking things off of the list that you feel pressure to have be important to you can bring up a lot of stuff. And oftentimes you will need some support. I will raise my hand and say it took me close to 2 years and 2 mentors to get to the point that I was at a solid, three values to serve as a framework, a North Star for any and every decision that I make. And once you have these values, you can start to, and you don't have to wait. These two exercises can run in parallel to each other. Map out your life areas. The truth is, your values show up differently in each area of your life. There are several different methods for life areas. I've seen coaches, work with anywhere, and therapists alike work with anywhere from 10 to 25 life areas. I work within a framework of 12, and there is a very handy exercise and resource for both defining your values and mapping out your life areas in the 7-day alignment challenge. So I've got a list of values that you can use as a sample, as well as an exercise for conducting a concern map on your life against those 12 life areas. But my favorite exercise to run for mapping your life areas is really just listing out your 10, 12, 15, whatever life area framework you want to work with, and then rating how important that life area is to you. And then taking a look at how much time, energy, and attention you're actually giving that life area today and assigning that a number on a scale of 1 to 10. So on a scale of 1 to 10, we've rated how important a given life area is to us. And then we've given a number allocation to how much time, energy, and attention we're actually putting into that life area. And if you subtract the second number from the first number, then that will give you a concern score. And it makes it, for me, I find it gives me a nice visual reference to where I might need to make some adjustments and redefine some prioritization in order to truly to regulate and to be at homeostasis. And then check in consistently. I think we've talked about up to this point the fact that change is constant. You've got a lot of external factors that are outside of your control geopolitically, within your family infrastructure, within your business policy. There's a lot going on that's changing. There's also a lot that's changing within you biologically. So check in. I run this process at least every 90 days. If things are particularly high stress at any given time, I may run formal exercises more like once a month. And there are a plethora of holistic tools that you can use to even check in daily. If it's a 5-minute meditation, just something to just kind of catch where you are right now. No judgment, but just catch where you are right now, so that you can make adjustments. Again, with these values and your life areas, always running as a framework in the background by which a backdrop to put changes against. And the positive impact of regulation training and practicing regulation every single day is that your stress levels will decrease. And it's not to say that you're suddenly going to stop having changes in your external environment, or there's stop going to be like stressful events coming into your world. It's just that you will know how to deal with them. And this is something that we talk about a lot, this misconception that burnout is driven by working long hours or working hard, and that the only way to prevent it or to overcome it is to just stop working altogether. But that's really not the case. Burnout, from a clinical definition standpoint, is when the demands of your life outstrip your coping skills. So if you're practicing regulation and you are adding tools in your toolkit that support you where you are on your journey right now, and you're regulating, this is going to bring your stress levels down despite what's going on around you. It will improve the health of your relationships so that you're not running from tough conversations. Things are getting dealt with. You are not bringing subconscious issues into your communications, both personally and professionally. And this will really help us get out in front of job burnout. And this is really what we're out here trying to do with the 7 Summits project. We believe that leaders they're there in the world at every stage of life's journey. And what we're trying to do through the 7 Summits project is make the tools and exercises necessary for regulation, both from a behavioral therapy, a psychotherapy, a neuroscience standpoint, available to as many folks as possible, and to provide tools that meet you where you are on your journey today, whether you are younger and trying to navigate your educational journey, whether you're a parent supporting a young person on their educational journey and kind of figuring out what their career pathway looks like for them. You are setting up your first company or embarking on your first career endeavor, or you are a veteran who has earned your existential crisis through exit and is now trying to figure out what life looks like next. Just really having the right tools available to you at your fingertips to leverage when you need them. And we do this through the 7 Summits app, which is a free app downloadable through the Google and Apple stores. The app, I highly recommend that everybody kick things off with a 7-day alignment challenge. Even if you already have done some values or life area work, it can serve either as a first-time exercise or a phenomenal opportunity to check in. And if it does bring things up for you, you do have the ability to schedule a free consultation with me, so that you can get the additional support that you need. That is a free 30-minute consultation. So please do feel free to go ahead and get stuck in. And I look forward to seeing your progress on the challenge. I will also pop a link to the slides into this module on the app. So do feel free to reference those. I know a few of you who were, sorry, dog shaking in the background. A few of you that were able to attend the talk at King's College have asked for the slides, so you will have that available to click on as the follow-on module from watching this talk. If you have any questions at all, please do feel free to reach out to me either directly through the app or also I am available as Ashley Collins on LinkedIn or at ashley@humanestartup.com. Have a wonderful day.